What's up, Fortnite? It's the one, the only.
Don't waste the lives we took today. Soapbot must die. For the honor of the Commonwealth.
Sticky Basket. Recently, Twitter began attacking, claiming my content was devoid of personality. To appease the internet police, it's probably time I told a story about myself. The year was 2012, just 2 months remained before the world would end for the third time in my life. People taking stances on what shape the Earth was hadn't yet been socially acceptable to admit publicly, and I was on the fast track to corporate America, attending a brick-and-mortar university. At the time, libraries were more than just a urinal for the homeless, and while walking to one, I was approached by a person I thought to be from the remnants of the Occupy movement. Being new to the area and at a naive junction in my life, I was unable to walk away from crazy people, so I figured I'd humor the notion that the man was keeping me down. Shortly before this encounter, I had looked at the accruing debt of attending university and knew it would be improbable to continue due to financial reasons. And as a young fellow, I was looking for anything to assign blame away from myself. This person began talking about how my financial troubles were related to Wall Street bankers lining their pockets, which was awesome, because it meant I wasn't at fault for not applying to scholarship programs. I was hooked. In depth, we discussed from an almost childlike perspective of how fairness should apply to free market economics, and I was invited to a meeting and to sign up for a mailing list. Without hesitation, as I had just discovered the man was keeping me down, I signed up. After the meeting, I figured out I had accidentally just joined a socialist movement. For those of you not familiar, socialism is like communism's clone. The cloning that socialism was incubated in wasn't built to the proper specifications, and as a result, during the gestation period, the development of cognitive function was significantly impaired. Instead of using authority or power to seize the means of production, they complain in groupthink and echo chambers until their problems are solved by insidiously spreading incognito to the mainstream. At least at the time it was incognito. And I now had a front row seat to watch the movement evolve from blaming the 1% to blaming business owners, and now to blaming whoever isn't a follower of their doctrine. I won't name the book, but it was written by Karl Marx and rhymes with Pom Eunuch, Pan of Pesto. But socialists also won't name the book because their resource allocation only uses the state as a means of resource distribution and not as the controller of resources. Shortly after seeing that this group wouldn't pay for my education, I suspect out of fear that I would one day be the 1%, I left school and began working and studying in my free time. Then, out of nowhere, the world didn't end and I was left with a minimum wage job. It wouldn't last long and I would go on to move cross-country and search for my own answers, but that's a story for another day. It'd be wrong to say I hadn't considered the idea of reaping the benefits of another's work, but at the time I was young enough to be able to afford to be an idiot. Luckily, I grew out of it, and now, as they say, better dead than read. I still read the newsletters from time to time for a quick laugh. And scene. In terms of gameplay styles, control scheme and genre match are a significant factor in determining playability. I'm aware that people beat Dark Souls using the bongo kit from Donkey Konga, but a third-person camera moves differently than a first-person camera. The only time I can enjoy using mouse and keyboard to play games is an overhead RTS style like The Sims. In The Sims, the position of the camera doesn't affect how your character behaves because you're put in control of multiple characters who can be doing tasks independent of one another. Dark Souls, on the other hand, grants full control of one character, and your controls are dependent on where the camera faces. To do this with mouse and keyboard is ridiculous because there is a degree of rigidity in directional motion control that isn't achieved by WASD. Then compounding that lack of versatility with a mouse that has complete range of motion and can make a million motion sickness inducing circles makes for a poor user experience. The PC gaming community has probably exiled me for saying such brave yet controversial things, but Galileo was tried for heresy too, so I'm not that concerned. There is no right way to play a game because most control schemes can be remapped, but people that claim to enjoy mouse and keyboard should feel free to admit that they are playing without regard to ergonomics, regardless of KD ratios or how many hundreds of dollars their mouse cost. I use an Xbox controller unless a game lacks support, or if I'm playing on my PS4, which is a far superior console to the Xbox because if you have a PS Vita, you're able to use remote play. And if your friends have a PS Vita, you can play Ragnarok Odyssey with them. Xbox isn't even close to that level. And scene.
Quill, destroy the bridge to block Sopot's reinforcements.